Have you ever wondered what happens when someone realizes you've lost interest? That someone who always took you for granted, who played with your emotions like you were just a puppet in their hands, ready to be crushed whenever they felt like it. They thought you'd always be there, no matter how they treated your feelings. But what if one day you decided to walk away? What if you finally said enough is enough and decided to cut those strings and reclaimed your power by focusing solely on yourself? Imagine the shock when they realize that the puppet has come to life, no longer under their control, no longer dancing to their tune. It's like the rug being pulled out from under them, leaving them stumbling, desperate to regain the control they thought they had. Now let's get real. Imagine this. You've always been there, the one who cares, the one who reaches out. But then, one day, you stop. You decide that your energy is better spent on your own growth, on becoming the person you've always wanted to be. And suddenly, they start to notice the shift. At first, it's subtle. Maybe they brush it off, thinking it's just a phase. But as the days pass, the realization dawns on them. You're not chasing them anymore. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone realizes you've lost interest? That someone who always took you for granted, who played with your emotions like you were just a puppet in their hands, ready to be crushed whenever they felt like it. They thought you'd always be there, no matter how they treated your feelings. But what if one day you decided to walk away? What if you finally said enough is enough and decided to cut those strings and reclaimed your power by focusing solely on yourself? Imagine the shock when they realize that the puppet has come to life, no longer under their control, no longer dancing to their tune. It's like the rug being pulled out from under them, leaving them stumbling, desperate to regain the control they thought they had. Now let's get real. Imagine this. You've always been there, the one who cares, the one who reaches out. But then, one day, you stop. You decide that your energy is better spent on your own growth, on becoming the person you've always wanted to be. And suddenly, they start to notice the shift. At first, it's subtle. Maybe they brush it off, thinking it's just a phase. But as the days pass, the realization dawns on them. You're not chasing them anymore, and that's when the desperation begins to creep in. What if your silence spoke louder than any words ever could? What if, by withdrawing, you made them confront the reality of your absence, the void you've left behind that they can no longer ignore? This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate their emotions. It's about embracing your worth and understanding that sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to step back and let them feel what life is like without you in it. So today, we're not just exploring what happens when you lose interest. We're diving into the ripple effects that can leave them scrambling, desperate to regain what they never fully appreciated. Each step we'll cover today will reveal how they go from indifferent to frantic, all because you've decided that your attention is no longer theirs to take for granted. This is your moment to rise, to reclaim your power, and to transform into someone whose absence is felt more deeply than they ever anticipated. But before we dive in, I've got a challenge for you. If you're ready to step into your power and witness the shift that happens when they realize you've lost interest, drop a comment below with the phrase, "My silence speaks volumes." This isn't just a statement. It's a declaration of your strength, your resolve, and your commitment to becoming unforgettable. It's time to show them, and yourself, that you're not just stepping back. You're stepping up in a way that will make them feel your absence like never before. Ready, Stoic friends? Let's go. So folks, there is one question that always lingers in the back of our minds whenever we decide to pull back. What if walking away, or realizing they've lost your interest, results in making them move even further away? What if, instead of pulling them closer, your absence pushes them to distance themselves even more? This is a question that haunts many of us when we decide to step back and reclaim our power. It's a fear that can make you second-guess your decision, wondering if you've made a mistake by stepping back. After all, the idea that they might drift away for good is unsettling, to say the least. But stick with me, folks, because today I'm going to unravel this complex and often misunderstood scenario. We're going to dive deep into the psychology behind this fear and explore why sometimes the best thing you can do is to let them go, because it's in that distance that true clarity emerges. We'll discuss the powerful truth behind Khalil Gibran's wisdom. If you love somebody, let them go, for if they return, they were always yours. If they don't, they never were. This profound insight will help us understand why creating space isn't about losing them, but about giving both of you the chance to see things clearly. It's about trusting that if the connection is real, they'll return with a renewed appreciation for your value. And if they don't, well, that's a sign that your energy is better spent elsewhere, on someone who truly values what you bring to the table. So, if you've ever wondered whether walking away could lead to permanent distance, or if your silence might push them even further, stay tuned. We're about to uncover the truth behind this fear and reveal why reclaiming your power is always the right choice, no matter the outcome. Number 1. Initial shock. Their confusion, your resolve. So folks, the moment they realize you've lost interest, it's like a puppet suddenly cutting its strings, no longer dancing to their tune. They're left in a state of shock and confusion, wondering how the script changed so suddenly. You've always been there, responding to their cues, but now you're no longer playing the part they expected. As they scramble to understand this new reality, they're hit with the unsettling truth that you're not as predictable or available as they once thought. Imagine this. They've grown used to your attention, so much so that it's become part of their daily routine. You were the one who always reached out first, who made the plans, who ensured the connection stayed strong. But now you've pulled back, no longer initiating contact, no longer filling their days with messages or plans. Suddenly, they're left with an unfamiliar void they can't quite comprehend. They start to question everything. What caused this change? Have they lost their grip on you? This confusion is their first taste of what it feels like to be on the other side, where they no longer control the dynamic. This confusion hits hard, like an unexpected storm that catches them completely off guard. They may begin to overanalyze every interaction, searching for clues, trying to understand what has shifted in the dynamic. They wonder if they've done something wrong, if they missed a signal, or if something has changed in you that they didn't notice before. But while they're spinning in confusion, you're standing firm in your resolve. You've made a conscious decision to prioritize yourself, to step back and let them see what life is like without your constant presence. You've decided that your time, energy and attention are valuable commodities, not to be given away lightly. This isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate them. It's about recognizing your own worth and acting accordingly. Imagine you're a lighthouse that has always guided their way, your light steady and dependable. But now that light has dimmed, leaving them to navigate their way alone. They didn't realize how much they relied on your guidance until it was no longer there. Now, as they try to find their bearings, they're confronted with the unsettling reality that they no longer have the certainty and direction they once took for granted. During this time, they might reach out to mutual friends or scour your social media for clues, desperate to piece together what's going on. They might ask others if they've noticed a change in you, hoping to confirm their suspicions. But no matter where they turn, the answers they seek elude them. This isn't something they can easily fix or explain away. It's a shift that has occurred within you, a shift that signals you're no longer willing to be the constant giver without receiving anything meaningful in return. Meanwhile, you remain steady and resolute. You've decided to focus on your own path, to grow in ways that don't require their approval or validation. You're embracing the power of your own presence, understanding that your worth isn't diminished by their inability to see it. As you withdraw your attention, you're not only gaining clarity about what you want from life and relationships, but you're also giving them a chance to truly understand the value of what they've lost. As they grapple with their confusion, you remain clear-headed, focused on your growth and well-being. The philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still." This is your moment to master yourself, to rise above the confusion and uncertainty that they're now feeling. You've chosen to step out of the role they've cast you in and to define your own path. And with that decision comes a newfound strength, a sense of empowerment that they can't quite comprehend. They're beginning to realize that they no longer have the influence over you that they once did, and this realization is unsettling for them. They're used to you being there, responding to their needs, playing the part they've assigned you. But now, you're writing your own script, and they're struggling to keep up with the changes. As they start to realize that you've stopped dancing to their tune, affirm your decision with the words, "I've cut the strings." This is your declaration, folks, that you're no longer playing by their rules. You've taken back control, and it's time to let them see that you're not just a supporting character in their story. You're the lead in your own. And trust me, that's a role worth embracing. In this new chapter of your life, you're the one writing the script, and the story you're crafting is one of strength, resilience, and unwavering self-respect. Remember, this isn't just about them realizing they've lost you. It's about you realizing what you've gained. You've gained clarity, strength, and the freedom to live life on your own terms. You're no longer bound by their expectations or limited by their needs. You're free to be who you are, to pursue your passions, and to build the life you want. And that, my friends, is the most powerful position you can be in. So stand tall, get ready for the next things they'll go through, and embrace your newfound strength. Know that you're on the right path. You've cut the strings, and you're dancing to your own tune now. The stage is yours. Go out there and own it. Number 2, denial, their hope, your strength. So folks, after the initial shock wears off, they often slip into denial. It's that stage where they convince themselves that your distance is just a temporary phase, that you'll soon return to the way things were. They might tell themselves that you're just busy or going through something, and that any day now you'll be back, giving them the attention they've come to expect. It's their hope holding on, refusing to accept the reality that you're no longer as invested as you once were. Imagine this. They keep waiting for that text from you, the one that used to come like clockwork. Days pass, and they still believe that it's only a matter of time before things go back to normal. This denial is their way of coping, a shield against the uncomfortable truth that your focus has shifted away from them. They might even start to rationalize your silence, thinking that maybe you're just testing them, or that you're playing hard to get. But deep down, there's a growing unease, a fear that things might have truly changed. While they're clinging to this hope, you're building something far more powerful, your inner strength. You've made a choice to step back, to prioritize your own growth and well-being, and that's not something you're going to compromise on. This is where your strength shines through. You're no longer the person who bends at the slightest pull. You've become someone who stands firm in their decisions. As they continue hoping that things will revert to how they were, you're moving forward, not looking back. This is the moment where you truly understand the power of your absence. It's not about disappearing. It's about showing that your presence is a choice, not a given. And that, my friends, is where real strength lies. So, as they wait and hope, thinking you'll come running back, that's the moment to reaffirm your resolve. My absence will speak volumes. This is your time to let them see that you're not just stepping back, you're stepping up. You're showing them, and yourself, that your value doesn't diminish just because you're not always available. It's time to let your silence do the talking, and let them realize that your strength comes from within. And folks, before we move on to the third, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What questions are running through your mind right now? Throw them out in the comments. I'm here to help you navigate through this journey. And if everything's clear so far, hit that thumbs up, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get ready to unravel the next thing they might feel, which is even more impactful, so you definitely don't want to miss it. Stick around, because we're just getting to the heart of how your absence can make a profound difference in their life. Number 3, realization of absence, their void, your empowerment. So folks, after the denial fades, something more profound begins to set in. The realization of your absence. It's like a curtain lifting, revealing a stage that's suddenly empty where you once stood. They start to fill the void that your presence once filled, a void they never fully appreciated until it was gone. This realization can hit hard, leaving them with a deep sense of loss and uncertainty. As the old saying goes, you don't know what you have until it's gone. This is the moment when that truth becomes painfully clear. Imagine this. They go about their day, but something feels off. The little interactions that once seemed insignificant now leave a noticeable gap in their routine. The morning text that used to brighten their day, the comfort of knowing you were just a call away, all of it is missing. They start to notice how much they relied on your presence, how much your energy brought warmth and stability to their lives. And now, without it, there's an emptiness that they can't quite fill. But while they're grappling with this void, you're experiencing something entirely different. Empowerment. The space you've created by stepping back isn't just a void for them, it's an opportunity for you. An opportunity to focus on yourself, to grow, and to become even stronger. You're no longer pouring your energy into someone who didn't appreciate it fully. Instead, you're redirecting that energy into your own life, your own passions, and your own growth. As they begin to realize what they've lost, you're beginning to see what you've gained. You're no longer dependent on their validation or approval. You've reclaimed your power, and in doing so, you've become even more resilient, more confident. As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. By taking back your consent, you've taken back your power. So while they're left feeling the void of your absence, you're embracing the empowerment that comes with it. This is your time to rise, to show that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's recognition. Your presence is a gift, and your absence is a powerful reminder of that. It's a moment of clarity for them and a moment of strength for you. And as you move forward, you're no longer defined by their expectations. You're defined by your own. Number 4. Curiosity, their intrigue, your confidence. So folks, after they've come to terms with the void your absence has left, something else begins to stir within them. Curiosity. It's a natural reaction when someone who once played a significant role in their life suddenly becomes a mystery. You've stepped back, focused on yourself, and now they're left wondering what's going on in your world. This curiosity isn't just about where you are or what you're doing. It's about why you've changed, why you're no longer as accessible as you once were. Imagine this. They're scrolling through their phone, noticing that they haven't heard from you in a while. They check your social media, hoping to find some clue about what's happening in your life. But instead of finding answers, they're met with more questions. Why aren't you reaching out? Are you moving on? Are you happier without them? This curiosity can quickly turn into a quiet obsession as they try to piece together the puzzle of your life without them in it. While their curiosity grows, so does your confidence. You've chosen to focus on yourself, to invest in your own growth and happiness, and it's starting to show. You're no longer the person who's always there, always available at their beck and call. Instead, you've become someone who values your own time and energy, someone who's confident enough to step back and let them come to you, if they choose to. As they become more intrigued by your absence, you're standing firm in your confidence. You're not playing games, you're simply living your life on your terms. This newfound confidence isn't just about proving a point to them, it's about proving something to yourself. You've realized that your worth isn't dependent on anyone else's attention or validation. You're enough just as you are, and that realization is powerful. As Oscar Wilde once said, "To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance." This is the stage where you're truly embracing that romance, finding joy and fulfillment within yourself rather than seeking it from others. And as they watch you from a distance, trying to figure out what's changed, your confidence only grows stronger. So while their curiosity keeps them intrigued, your confidence keeps you grounded. You're no longer caught in the web of needing their approval or attention. Instead, you're flourishing in your own space, secure in the knowledge that you're on the right path. And that's when you affirm, with quiet strength, "My absence will speak volumes." You found your center, and that, my friends, is where true confidence lies. Number 5. Growing insecurity, their fear, your clarity. So folks, as their curiosity about your absence grows, it often gives way to something deeper and more unsettling, growing insecurity. This is when they start to realize that the control they once thought they had over the relationship is slipping away, and with it comes a creeping fear that they've lost something valuable. They might not have acknowledged it before, but now, with you no longer readily available, the fear begins to take root. Imagine this. They start to notice that you're no longer responding as quickly as you used to, or perhaps you're not responding at all. Their mind races with possibilities. Are you seeing someone else? Have you moved on? Are they being replaced? These questions begin to eat away at their confidence, and the more they think about it, the more insecure they become. What was once a certainty in their life, your attention and presence, is now a big question mark, and that uncertainty is terrifying. While they're grappling with these insecurities, you're experiencing something entirely different: clarity. You've stepped back, taken time to focus on yourself, and in doing so, you've gained a clear understanding of what truly matters to you. You're no longer clouded by the need for their approval or attention. Instead, you see the situation for what it is: a chance to reaffirm your own value and prioritize your own needs. As their insecurity grows, they might start to act out, perhaps by reaching out more often, seeking reassurance, or even trying to provoke a reaction from you. But here's where your clarity shines through. You don't need to engage in their drama or feed into their fears. You've made a conscious choice to step back for your own well-being, and you're sticking to it. You understand that their insecurity is a reflection of their own issues, not yours. This is the moment to stand firm in your resolve and let your actions speak louder than any words could. As the philosopher Confucius once said, "He who knows himself is enlightened." Your clarity is your strength, and it guides you through the noise of their insecurity. So as their fear grows, and they become more desperate for your attention, you remain centered, knowing that your path is the right one. This is the time to affirm, with unwavering confidence, "My absence will speak volumes." You're no longer swayed by their insecurities because you've found clarity in your own truth. And that, my friends, is a powerful place to be. Number 6. Desperation or walking away. Their reaction, your response. So folks, as the situation unfolds, it often comes to a critical juncture. They either move toward desperation, trying everything they can to pull you back, or they decide to walk away, believing it's too late to mend what's been broken. This is where their reaction meets your response, and how you handle each scenario can make all the difference in your journey forward. When desperation sets in, you'll start to notice a shift in their behavior. They might begin to reach out more frequently, sending texts, making calls, or even showing up unexpectedly. These attempts are driven by a fear of losing you entirely, and in their desperation, they might say or do things that are out of character, things they never would have done when they felt secure in the relationship. It's a classic case of realizing the value of something only when it's on the brink of being lost. Their actions are often fueled by panic as they scramble to regain the connection that once seemed so effortless. But here's where your response is crucial. While it might be tempting to respond immediately, to ease their desperation out of compassion or a lingering attachment, it's important to stay grounded. You need to recognize that their attempts to pull you back are more about their own insecurities than about genuine change or growth. Reacting impulsively could undo all the progress you've made in reclaiming your own power and clarity. Instead, maintain your boundaries and remember why you stepped back in the first place. Your decision to focus on yourself wasn't about punishing them. It was about honoring your own needs and well-being. If you do choose to engage, do so from a place of strength, not obligation. Make it clear that your time and energy are valuable and that any future interaction will be on your terms, not theirs. On the other hand, there's the possibility that instead of scrambling to win you back, they might decide to walk away. This can be equally challenging, especially if part of you hoped they would fight to keep the connection alive. When they choose to walk away, it can feel like a final, painful confirmation that the relationship wasn't as strong as you might have believed. It's natural to feel a sense of loss and even doubt your decision to step back in the first place. But remember, their decision to walk away isn't necessarily a reflection of your worth or the value of the relationship. It's a reflection of where they are in their own journey. Accepting their decision to walk away requires a deep sense of self-assurance and the understanding that not everyone is meant to stay in your life. This is where you reaffirm your commitment to yourself. If they walk away, it's not because you weren't enough, but because the relationship had run its course. It's an opportunity to fully embrace your independence and the clarity you've gained. This is your chance to move forward without looking back, knowing that you've done what's best for your growth. In both scenarios, Whether they're desperately trying to pull you back or choosing to walk away, the key is to stay true to yourself. You've already made the hard choice to step back and focus on your own well-being, and now is the time to honor that choice. Whether they choose to fight for the relationship or let it go, your response should always come from a place of strength and self-respect. This is the moment to reaffirm your inner resolve with the affirmation, "My absence will speak volumes." It's a reminder that your worth isn't tied to their reaction, but is something you carry within yourself, regardless of what happens next. So, as they make their move, whether in desperation or in walking away, you stand firm, knowing that you've made the right decision for yourself. You're no longer defined by their actions or reactions, but by the clarity and confidence you've cultivated. And that, my friends, is the true power of stepping back and letting your absence speak for you. Number 7. Reflection and regret. Their guilt, your growth. So folks, as time passes and the dust begins to settle, they often find themselves in a phase of deep reflection and regret. It's during this time that they start to truly understand the consequences of their actions or inactions, and the reality of what they've lost begins to weigh heavily on them. This isn't just a fleeting thought or a passing sorrow. It's a deep, unsettling feeling that they might have let something valuable slip through their fingers. Imagine this. They replay moments in their mind, recalling the times when you were there for them, offering support, companionship, and love. They think about the times they might have taken you for granted, dismissing your efforts or assuming you would always be there. Now, in the quiet moments, that realization starts to settle in like a heavy weight. They begin to see how their choices, or lack of choices, have led them to this point of regret. It's a powerful emotion because it's tied to the understanding that they can't simply go back and change what's been done. They're left with the uncomfortable truth that they might have lost something truly meaningful, and that regret is something they'll have to carry. While they're steeped in guilt and regret, this is your moment of growth. You've taken the time to step back, to focus on yourself, and now you're seeing the fruits of that labor. You've grown stronger, more self-assured, and more in tune with what you need and deserve in your relationships. Their regret isn't something for you to fix. It's their burden to bear. Your focus remains on your own journey, on continuing to grow and evolve into the person you're meant to be. As they reflect on their past mistakes, you're building a future that's grounded in self-respect and clarity. You're no longer shackled by the need for their validation or weighed down by the regrets of the past. Instead, you're moving forward, embracing the lessons you've learned and using them to create a better, brighter path for yourself. This is your time to shine, to let your growth speak louder than any words ever could. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." While they're stuck looking back, consumed by regret, you're living forward, taking each step with intention and purpose. And that's where your true power lies. You've chosen to grow, to rise above the past, and to let your actions reflect the strength you've gained. So as they grapple with their guilt and the realization of what they've lost, you continue to grow, leaving the past behind and embracing the future with open arms. Your journey is no longer intertwined with theirs in the same way, because you've moved on and you're thriving. This is your story now, and it's one of growth, resilience, and unshakable strength. And as always, remember to affirm with confidence, "My absence will speak volumes," because it's through your growth that your true value shines, no longer dependent on their recognition, but on your own undeniable progress. Number 8. Longing for the past, their nostalgia, your perspective. So folks, as time goes on, after the waves of reflection and regret have washed over them, something else begins to creep in, longing for the past. This is when they start to feel a deep sense of nostalgia, yearning for the days when things were different, when you were a constant presence in their life. It's not just about missing you, it's about missing the comfort, the familiarity, and the connection that they once took for granted. Imagine this. They find themselves reminiscing about the good times you shared, the laughter, the late-night conversations, the way you understood them in a way few others did. They start to remember the small things that once felt insignificant, but now seem incredibly meaningful. Every memory brings a pang of longing, a wish that they could turn back the clock and relive those moments. This nostalgia can be powerful, making them realize just how much they miss the way things were and how much they miss having you in their life. But while they're wrapped up in longing for the past, you're seeing things from a completely different perspective. You've moved forward, and with that you've gained a clearer, more mature view of the relationship and your life as a whole. You're no longer holding on to the past because you understand that it's shaped you into the person you are today. Instead of longing for what was, you're focused on what is and what can be. You're grounded in the present, with a perspective that values growth and forward movement over clinging to memories. Nostalgia is a tricky thing. It can make the past seem more golden than it really was. But you know better. You know that while those memories are valuable, they're not a reason to turn back. Your perspective now is one of wisdom, seeing the past for what it truly was. A chapter in your life that's helped you grow, but one that's now closed. As they yearn for what's lost, you're embracing the present and building a future that aligns with who you've become. You've learned that while it's okay to remember the past fondly, it's not a place to live. Your journey is about moving forward with clarity and purpose, not getting lost in the rearview mirror. And as they continue to long for the past, you stand firm in your new perspective, affirming once again, "My absence will speak volumes." Because it's through your ability to move forward and see things as they are, not as they were, that you truly find your strength. Your perspective is your power, and it's what sets you apart, driving you toward a future that's even brighter than the past they're holding on to. Number 9, re-evaluation, their realization, your reaffirmation. So folks, after all the phases of shock, denial and longing, they eventually reach a point of re-evaluation. This is when they start to truly understand the gravity of what's happened. They begin to piece together all the moments they overlooked, the signs they ignored, and the impact of their actions or inactions. It's a moment of clarity for them, where they finally realize the depth of what they've lost and the role they played in it. This isn't just a passing thought. It's a deep, introspective moment where they confront the reality of their choices. Imagine this. They sit quietly, reflecting on the journey they've been through since you stepped back. They start to see the patterns in their behavior, the times they took you for granted, the times they assumed you would always be there. This re-evaluation isn't just about the relationship, it's about their own behavior, their own shortcomings. They might realize that they weren't as present as they should have been, that they didn't invest in the relationship the way they should have, and that their actions have led to a permanent shift in the dynamic between you. While they're going through this realization, this is your moment of reaffirmation. You've spent this time focusing on yourself, on growing stronger and more self-aware. Now, as they come to terms with their role in what's happened, you reaffirm the decisions you've made. You understand that stepping back wasn't just a reaction to their behavior, it was a necessary step for your own well-being and growth. You reaffirm that your worth isn't tied to their realization, but has always existed, independent of their recognition. This is the moment where you stand firm in your choices. You've seen how much you've grown since you decided to focus on yourself, and you're not willing to compromise that progress. Their realization may bring them to a place of regret, but for you, it's a moment to reaffirm your path, your strength, and your decision to prioritize yourself. You're no longer seeking validation from them because you've already found it within yourself. As they reflect on what they've lost, you stand strong in what you've gained. This is your time to reaffirm with unwavering confidence, "My absence will speak volumes." You've learned to trust your own judgment, to value your own worth, and to continue moving forward with clarity and purpose. Their realization may be powerful, but your reaffirmation of your own strength is even more so. It's a testament to your journey and the power you've discovered within yourself. Number 10. Desperation and acceptance. Their final move, your ultimate choice. So folks, we've come to the final stage of this journey, desperation and acceptance. After all the phases of shock, denial, reflection, and re-evaluation, they reach a critical point where they must decide what to do next. This is their final move, and it often comes down to two choices. Either they act out of desperation, making one last attempt to pull you back, or they finally come to terms with the reality of the situation and accept that things have changed. When desperation takes hold, they might try anything to regain your attention. They could flood you with messages, plead for another chance, or even make grand gestures in a last-ditch effort to reconnect. This desperation is fueled by the fear of losing you forever, a fear that's been growing since they first realized you were slipping away. It's a moment of panic, where they're willing to do whatever it takes to return things to the way they were. But often, this kind of desperation only highlights the imbalance that existed in the relationship. It's more about their need to fill the void than about genuinely making things right. On the other hand, there's the possibility that instead of acting out of desperation, they may come to a place of acceptance. They might finally understand that your decision to step back was rooted in your need for growth and self-respect, and that no amount of pleading or grand gestures can change what's already been done. This acceptance isn't easy for them. It's the painful acknowledgement that the relationship as they knew it has fundamentally changed, and they have to move forward without you. Now, here's where your ultimate choice comes in. If they're acting out of desperation, you need to decide whether to engage or maintain the boundaries you've set. It's crucial to ask yourself if their efforts are truly about repairing the relationship in a healthy way, or if they're just trying to regain control. Your growth has taught you to recognize the difference, and this is where you must choose what aligns with your well-being and values. If they've reached acceptance, your choice is to continue on your path with confidence, knowing that you've made the right decisions for yourself. Acceptance from them doesn't mean they've stopped caring. It means they've come to respect your choice and the strength it took to make it. This is your moment to stand firm, reaffirming that your journey was never about them. It was always